I'm so excited. All right, again, take 498. All right. Hi everyone, welcome to Paper Bag Beauty. I'm Taylor, the owner, and I'm so excited to be sharing my first tutorial of 2018, which is how to airbrush. I think that this is the #1 most requested video I've ever had, and if you've received services by me or you know me, you know I love to airbrush. So today I'm going to teach you how to get it yourself, how to airbrush, what I use, how to set with powder, concealers, everything. We are so excited to share this with you. Make sure you comment below, subscribe, and keep on watching. I'm going to start this process by putting Kheils moisturizer on my face. I start by using a moderately small amount. I don't want too much because some of the foundations can be a little bit more on the oily side if you're not naturally dry. I'm naturally dry, so I'm going to center this in the middle of my face mainly. Make sure you really get the under eye part. I feel like because we don't put a ton of moisturizers on in the desert all the time, the under eye with concealer can be very dry. And a little bit down your neck, you might end up using a little bit of foundation down there as well. This next part, I'm going to use a primer in the center of my face. Airbrush is usually for more of the photo finished look, so make sure you use products that accompany long wear. I take a pretty small amount and I center it in the middle of my face, mainly on my nose and cheeks because that's where I have larger pores. My forehead gets shiny along with my neck and my chin, so I put a little there. The next step is going to be filling your airbrush. Today I'm going to be using a makeup airbrush, but you have many options. It doesn't have to be a makeup airbrush as long as it is smaller, it's okay. Today I'm going to be using a Monda SP35. They sell a lot of different brands. I know Hobby Lobby and Michaels sell an SP35. I think it's Iowata. To start this process, if you know me, you know I love this foundation along with this airbrush, and it's pretty easy to fill. You'll want to start by connecting your gun to the compressor hose. That's what this is. So these screw on, and this compressor forces air through the airbrush through in order for it to look really lightweight. Once you have it connected onto the airbrush hose, you'll want to take your foundation and make sure it's very well shaken. It needs to be as liquid as possible to fit through the airbrush. If you're not using NARS, just make sure that whatever foundation you're using is very liquid. So I'm going to shake this as good as I can. Okay, so after you shook? Am I shook? Yeah, I'm shook.
After you've shaken.
After you're shook from shaking your foundation, you are going to take your foundation and pump 3 or 4 different pumps into the well. This is called a well of an airbrush. And just make sure that that's going to be enough for your face. I think that's plenty, really. If you wanted a lighter application, you could even go with 2 pumps. If you're really dry like me, I like to add a few drops of oil to kind of make the foundation less matte. This particular foundation can be matte on certain people, even though it says Luminous. Okay, so I like to take a bit of oil, and just 2 drops is fine into the foundation. If you're using the Iowata compressor, you'll want to put it on the 3rd option, which I believe the little button turns red. If you have a more substantial system, you'll want to make sure that it's coming out evenly, but it's still easy to use and not coming out too fast. It's like a easy minimum, or I guess a difficult minimum that you'll have to find. Start on the outer edges of your face. If you want it to be lighter, you don't need to push so hard. Voila! That's it. I know, everybody thinks it's way harder than it is. I only like to airbrush that. A lot of people like to airbrush contour and stuff, and I think on myself that is impossible. Forget it. It's not happening. I'm sorry. I could probably teach it, but I'm not going to try it on myself. So I'm going to teach you how I do my highlight and contour routine with this particular foundation routine. So I'm gonna mix two colors together. One as a corrective measure and the other as a brightening measure. I do use the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealers. So I start with the corrective tone underneath my eye first. And I like to place this really just a little bit underneath my eye. Not too much, just to take out any dark circles I might have. Just under the eye. Then I like to take a brightening tone through the center of the nose, up into the brow area, kind of like typical highlight contour routine. Center of the chin. And just a little bit to brighten down the cheek. I blend that a little bit. Voila. So I'm going to blend with a brush under my eyes. Now I'm going to set my concealer areas with the brighter tone, which is my RCMA No Color Powder. I use the same brush. A lot of tools gets a little bit too confusing. So the same brush that I blended out with, I'm just going to set my under eyes with. Not too much, just a little. If you're really oily, you're welcome to bake your face, which is another day and time, but I just like to make sure that the lighter tone I'm using a powder is on the concealer parts, and then I'm going to use a darker tone on all of the listed parts. Now I'm going to take a medium tone powder with a fluffy brush and set the rest of my face. So you can use whatever tone that matches your face altogether. If you want to set your whole face with RCMA, not Crystal Pro. Blend, 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 blend. Thank you. Now I'm going to take a bit of bronzing powder just to add a little bit of depth to the outer edges of my face. Some people like to contour a little bit more, others like to bronze. I'm a bronzer, not a contourer. But if you like to contour, maybe that'll be what I do. Everybody's bronzer choice is different. I like NARS Laguna for myself, but really there's an endless amount of things. Again, something for the blog. I'm going to take Warm Soul from MAC and just put it on the apples of my cheek so I can blend that bronzer into my cheek more naturally. Make sure you pull your blush upward. I don't like it when it goes down. I like it right across top and a little on the nose. I'm gonna go do my eyebrows and my eyelashes, and I'll be right back. Now that I'm back, I'm going to add highlighter to really jazz up the look. I just added lips and lashes along the way and did my brows. So now we're on to my favorite part, which is highlighter. The key to good highlighter is getting it wet. I like to get a couple sprays on the brush after I've picked it up, and I like to focus the center of my cheek as the main part of my highlight. So I like to start right here, and then I bring it into the brow. I do not put highlighter on the tip of my nose. I just, personal preference not to. The only time I do it is when a client requests that.